Did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
What if the nickname meant to tear you down became the brand you used to build yourself up? That's exactly what Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend is doing. Instead of running from criticism, she's leaning into it. Trademarking a word that many people have thrown at her ever since their romance went public. Gold digger. And trust me, the story doesn't stop there. Because the move reveals not only how Jordan sees herself in the spotlight, but also how this unlikely couple is turning criticism into power. The trademark filing became public in late August, when documents surfaced showing Jordan's company, TCE Rights Management LLC, had applied to lock down exclusive rights to the phrase gold digger. The application listed jewelry and keychains as the primary products. But here's the thing, if it's approved, Jordan could expand that into an entire lifestyle brand. Imagine hoodies, phone cases, handbags maybe, even fragrances all stamped with a phrase that people originally used to mock her. What makes this move so interesting is how calculated it feels. Filing a trademark isn't something you do overnight. It's not a casual joke, it's paperwork, fees, and a public declaration that you're building something. And it shows Jordan isn't just tolerating the spotlight, she's actively monetizing it. Think about the timing, too. The application went in on August 25th. Right as public conversation about her relationship with Belichick was peaking again after that viral CBS interview. Some critics think this was intentional, that Jordan is using the hype cycle to launch her brand. Honestly, it's smart. Because whether people support her or criticize her, the name Gold Digger is already in everyone's mouths. If the products actually hit the market, it'll spark even more attention. Imagine the paparazzi catching her wearing a necklace. From her own line, or fans ironically buying keychains as conversation pieces, every photo becomes free advertising. Every headline keeps the brand alive, and let's not forget the phrase itself already has pop culture weight. From Kanye West's iconic song to decades of celebrity gossip, Gold Digger is instantly recognizable. Jordan didn't invent the label, but by claiming ownership, she's giving it a whole new spin. Of course, none of this would matter without the relationship that started it all. Jordan Hudson, a former beauty pageant contestant and recent college graduate, began dating Bill Belichick sometime around 2022 or 2023. When news broke, fans were stunned, not just because Belichick is one of the most private figures in sports, but because of the sheer scale of their age gap. 72 and 24. It's almost half a century apart. To put it in perspective, Belichick was already winning Super Bowls before Jordan was even born. The gap is so big that it immediately became the defining narrative of their romance. For months, the media and internet commentators piled on. Was this true love? Was it companionship? Was Jordan chasing status and wealth? Was Bill simply enjoying the company of someone young after decades in a stressful, high-profile career? The questions weren't just about them. They were about what this kind of relationship means in general. And Jordan, fairly or unfairly, became the lightning rod. Social media branded her a gold digger almost instantly, especially after clips of her sitting alongside Belichick during interviews surfaced online. The criticism wasn't just mean, it was relentless. But here's where things get interesting. Instead of letting the age gap define her negatively, Jordan seems to be turning it into an opportunity. By trademarking Gold Digger, she's essentially saying, yes, I hear what you're calling me. I'm not only unfazed, I'm cashing in on it. It's the kind of move that sparks strong reactions on both sides. Some see it as empowering, a way of taking back control of the narrative. Others argue it proves the critics right, that she's literally monetizing the very thing they accused her of being. Either way, it ensures one thing. People will keep talking about Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick. That's exactly what keeps the spotlight shining. While the Gold Digger trademark filing grabbed headlines, it's not Jordan Hudson's first attempt at building a brand out of her highly publicized relationship. In fact, this is starting to look like a full-blown branding strategy. Earlier this year, trademark watchers noticed that her company, TCE Rights Management, filed for several other phrases. They weren't random, either they were tied directly to Bill Belichick's legendary reputation as one of the greatest football coaches in history. One of the applications was for No Days Off, Bill's version. Fans of the New England Patriots will instantly recognize that phrase, since No Days Off became a Belichick mantra during his championship years. Another filing, Chapel Bill's version, while the meaning behind that one is less clear, it seems to play on the almost cult-like reverence some fans have for Belichick. It's treating his approach to football like a philosophy. And then there's Bellicast. That one feels like a direct shot at the podcast and digital media space. Imagine Belichick launching his own podcast, his famously deadpan voice breaking down games, plays, or even telling stories from his decades in the league. With the trademark secured, Jordan's company could position itself to own that brand and monetize it. What's striking about all of this is that Jordan isn't just a passive figure in this relationship. she's actively creating business opportunities around. The Belichick name, even before the couple, has fully settled into the public eye. Critics may call it opportunistic, but to her supporters, it looks like smart entrepreneurship. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. Jordan is only 24. Most people her age are just starting their careers, paying off student loans, and figuring out what they want to do. Jordan, meanwhile, is already leveraging one of the most famous names in sports history to carve out a lane for herself. Whether you see it as strategic or calculated, one thing is certain, she isn't planning to fade quietly into the background. But if these trademarks show ambition, it was one viral TV moment that revealed just how tightly Jordan wants to control the narrative around her personal life. Back in April, Jordan and Bill sat down for a CBS Sunday morning interview, one of the first times the couple appeared together in such a high-profile setting. At first, the questions were harmless, but then came the one everyone wanted to know. So, how did you guys meet? The reporter probably expected a sweet anecdote. Instead, Jordan immediately cut it off. She shook her head, raised her hand slightly, and bluntly said, "Not talking about this. No." The exchange was short, awkward, and unforgettable. Within hours, the clip was circulating on social media. Memes popped up everywhere. Some fans laughed at her sharp delivery, saying it showed she wasn't here to play into gossip. Others thought it came off cold, even defensive, adding more fuel to suspicions about the relationship. What stood out most, though, was the dynamic it revealed. Belichick, usually the one stonewalling reporters with his famously short answers, sat quietly while Jordan took control of the moment. For once, he wasn't the one dodging questions, it was her, and that flipped the script in a fascinating way. To critics, it suggested Jordan has something to hide, or at the very least, something she doesn't want dissected on national TV. But to others, it showed a young woman drawing boundaries and refusing to let the media turn her private life into entertainment. Either way, the refusal to answer didn't end the conversation. It only created more speculation. Fans started theorizing about when and where they met, digging through old photos and piecing together timelines. Some even claimed to have spotted Jordan at Patriots games long before the relationship was public. Theories spread fast, and the mystery only deepened. The clip did more than just trend online. It cemented Jordan Hudson as a central figure in Belichick's public story. Suddenly, she wasn't just the girlfriend, she was the one who had the power to say no, the one controlling which parts of their story would stay hidden. And that's exactly why her next moves, like the gold digger trademark, are so fascinating. They're not random reactions. They look like part of a larger plan to take control of the narrative, whether people like it or not. If there's one thing Bill Belichick has mastered over decades in the NFL, it's tuning out the noise. Reporters, critics, analysts, he's faced them all. His response is almost always the same. Stay focused. Don't get distracted. Block out outside opinions. So when the spotlight shifted from his football legacy to his personal life, his reaction was no different. During that CBS Sunday morning interview, Belichick summed it up in just a few sentences. "I've never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right." It was classic Belichick short. Direct and almost dismissive of the idea that he should care what strangers think. This is the same man who once answered dozens of post-game questions with nothing but the phrase, "We're on to Cincinnati." He's built a reputation on keeping emotions out of the public eye. But here's what's interesting. His approach to this relationship reveals a softer, more personal version of that same philosophy. For years, Belichick has been known as the ultimate strategist on the field. Off the field, he's proving he applies the same logic focus on what matters. Ignore the rest. Of course, the critics aren't letting up. Some argue that his nonchalant attitude is a way to avoid tough questions, or say it shows he genuinely doesn't care about public perception as long as he's happy. Either way, it makes sense why Jordan is comfortable being bold. If Belichick himself isn't fazed by the chatter, why should she be? What also can't be ignored is how rare it is for Belichick to open up about anything personal. This is a coach who has guarded his private life for decades, rarely offering glimpses into his relationships or family. So the fact that he's even appearing alongside Jordan in interviews says something. He's not hiding her. In fact, he's standing by her, even as she embraces controversy with moves like the gold digger trademark. And in a way, his calm stance almost amplifies her boldness. He provides the quiet, steady backdrop, while Jordan brings the fire. It's a balanced one that makes their pairing even more fascinating to watch. The moment news of the gold digger trademark broke, the internet lit up. Social media users, sports fans, gossip sites all jumped in with their takes in. The reactions were split right down the middle. On one side, people applauded Jordan. They saw the trademark as a clever, empowering move. Why run from criticism when you can own it? Why let an insult define you when you can turn it into merchandise and make money? Supporters called her bold, unapologetic, and even inspiring for flipping negativity into profit. Some fans even joked that they'd buy the merch, ironically imagining NFL wives or girlfriends walking around with gold digger necklaces just to stir the pot. In today's culture, where meme-worthy merch can skyrocket, the idea didn't seem far-fetched, but not everyone was impressed. Critics doubled down, saying the trademark only confirmed what they'd suspected all along, that Jordan was in it for fame, money, and attention. To them, launching a gold digger brand wasn't a clever clapback, it was a confession. Sports commentators also weighed in, with some pointing out how unusual it is for someone connected to Belichick, who has spent decades carefully controlling his image, to lean so hard into controversy. Belichick built a dynasty on discipline, silence, and respect for the process. Jordan, on the other hand, seems to thrive on the spectacle. The contrast is stark, and people can't stop debating whether it makes them stronger as a couple or destined for drama. Then there's the generational divide. Younger audiences on TikTok and Instagram tend to view Jordan's moves as savvy branding. Older audiences, especially longtime NFL fans, are more skeptical, seeing it as a sideshow that distracts from Belichick's legacy. And yet, no matter which side people are on, the reaction is one common thread. Everybody's talking. The trademark filing didn't fade into a niche story. It trended. It spread. It made headlines across sports outlets, celebrity blogs, and mainstream news. That's the power of controversy. It divides opinion, but it guarantees attention. And attention in today's world, the currency of influence. Now that Jordan Hudson has filed for the gold digger trademark, the question isn't just whether it gets approved, it's what she'll actually do with it if the application goes through. We could see products hitting the market in the next year. Keychains and jewelry are just the beginning. In the age of influencer branding, it doesn't take much for a single phrase to explode into a full merchandise empire. Hoodies, tote bags, hats, maybe even perfume sol, stamped with gold digger in bold letters. And here's where things get strategic. Imagine Jordan herself modeling the products on Instagram, leaning into the phrase with a wink and a smile. Suddenly, an insult becomes a fashion statement. The more critics use the word against her, the more free marketing the brand gets. It's the ultimate reversal, turning hate into sales. But the potential goes beyond merch. With her other trademark filings, Bellicast, and No Days Off Bill's version, Jordan could be setting up an entire lifestyle brand tied not just to herself, but also to Belichick's legacy. Podcasts, fitness gear, motivational products. The possibilities stretch far wider than jewelry. And then there's the entertainment factor. With how much attention this relationship has already drawn, it's not hard to imagine a reality show or documentary angle down the road. A behind-the-scenes look at the unlikely pairing of a legendary NFL coach and a 24-year-old entrepreneur would practically sell itself. Whether Bill would ever agree to that is another story, but Jordan clearly knows how to seize an opportunity. At the same time, speculation continues about what this means for the couple's future. Are they in it for the long haul? Is Jordan building her own independent empire? Or is this all just a way to ride Belichick's fame? No one knows the answers yet, but one thing is clear. By filing that trademark, Jordan has guaranteed that people won't stop watching. At the end of the day, this isn't just a story about a trademark. It's about control, power, and how one couple is navigating relentless public scrutiny. Jordan Hudson, just 24, is showing she's not afraid to play the game differently. Instead of hiding from the spotlight, she's stepping into it, even if it means leaning into a label as controversial as gold digger. To some, it's shameless. To others, it's genius. But either way, it's impossible to ignore. And then there's Bill Belichick, the quiet, disciplined coach who spent his entire career blocking out noise. By his side, Jordan brings the exact opposite energy, bold, loud, and unafraid to stir a conversation. Together, they're a study in contrasts, and maybe that's why people can't look away. The truth is, whether you love them or hate them, this relationship is more than just gossip. It's a case study in how fame, power, and perception collide in today's world. Every move they make, every interview, every trademark filing becomes fuel for conversation. And that's exactly what keeps their names trending. So maybe the real question isn't whether Jordan is a gold digger or a branding mastermind. Maybe it's whether we, the audience, are the ones being played, feeding the very spotlight she's now profiting from. Because one thing is undeniable. Jordan Hudson has already won. She's turned an insult into a brand, a relationship into a platform, and herself into a figure people can't stop talking about. Whether you're cheering her on or rolling your eyes, you're part of the story now too.